I always like to start with the head and neck exercise. So if you'd like to do it with me, just take your head down to your chest and back up 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Now you're going to take it all the way back as far as you can, and then back to center 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Now to the right shoulder 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Now to the left shoulder 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to go all the way around to the right 3 times. So drop your head to the chest and just let your mouth hang, relaxed, and go around. 1, back up to center. 2, back up to center. 3. Now to the left 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Now we do the eyes. Take your eyes up as far as you can, and then back down. So 1, 2, 3. Now to the right 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And to the left 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Now you circle around to the right 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And to the left 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Now if you do that every day, this will help your eyesight to improve. And also the neck exercise opens up all that area. And it also helps you go into a deeper meditation. So we're going to chant and just call and response. And I am in your presence. I am in your presence. I can feel your presence. I can feel your presence. Cleanse and purify my mind. Cleanse and purify my mind. Cleanse and purify my mind. I am one with all. 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 Kindness and love flows through me. Kindness and love flow through me. I am in your presence. I can feel your presence. Cleanse and purify my mind. Cleanse and purify my mind. I am one with all. 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 Kindness and love flow through me. Kindness and love flow through me. Where there is love, there is peace. I'm in your presence. I can feel your presence. Cleanse and purify my mind. Cleanse and purify my mind. I am one with all. I am one with all. I am one with all. Kindness and love flow through me. Kindness and love flow through me. I see only love. I see only love. I see only peace. I see only peace. Where there is love, there is peace. Where there is love, there is peace. Om.
about 1,000 years before Jesus was born, thinking in terms of time, space, and history. About 1,000 years before that, the book of Deuteronomy, the truth of the book of Deuteronomy, later on written, had this particular passage in it. For this commandment, which I command you this day, is not too hard for you, neither is it far off. It is not in heaven that you should say, who will go up to heaven and bring it to us, that we may hear it and do it. Neither is it beyond this sea that you could say, who will go across the sea for us and bring it to us, that we may hear it and do it. But the word is very near you. It is in your mouth and in your heart, that you can hear it and do it. So the truth is eternal, and it's been available down through the ages. And this eliminates all seeming middlemen, go-betweens. Who will do this for us? Who will get it for us? Who will bring the word to us? And of course, generation after generation after generation after generation, down through the ages, we have had all go-betweens, so many go-betweens, that we, the people, have relied upon their word and living in relationship to their pronunciations. But here we have the same truth that was being taught by the Master of Life and Truth. Because the word is very near you. It is in your heart, that you can hear it and do it. But again, in our societies, especially now in this high-tech Western culture of ours, we don't really hear. That's the problem. We are distracted. We become so used to being distracted that we feel uncomfortable when we're not being distracted. So we have all of these different gadgets and gizmos and entertainment and things to do and relate to, so that the distraction is almost continual. And when this speaks about hearing the word, it's implying that we need to be still. We need to withdraw, be quiet, allow the mind to rest, that we can feel and be guided by those subtle impressions that are referred to as the still small voice of God. And it's interesting that we have been caught up in this prison of stimulation, and we have called it life, and we have thought that somehow or other it will ultimately pay off. It's going to bring about what it is that's going to bring us happiness, without realizing how much conflict is created in the mind through all of the different sources of information that we're trying to put together and control. Even through our computers, we're trying to put it all together and control it so we can use it to further advance our personal awareness in life. But it doesn't and can't bring fulfillment for one reason. It cannot bring peace of mind. I tell this rather silly story about a pollywog who was born in this puddle, in this dirt. And as the water evaporated, the pollywog was left there. And it didn't know what to do. It just knew it had to do something. It didn't feel right. Something was wrong. And so at first it thought, I might be a flower. So it went and stood next to the flowers and tried to stand still and be okay with itself. But it wasn't okay there. It still felt uncomfortable. It couldn't get on the way the flowers looked so beautiful. It didn't feel right at all. But then it thought, oh, I might be a squirrel. It saw this ground squirrel. And it tried to romp around along the ground like the ground squirrel, but it couldn't keep up at all. And it couldn't stand what the squirrel was eating. Then it saw a bird and said, oh, I must be a bird. And it wobbled up onto a rock and flipped itself off and tried to fly, but it couldn't fly either. And it was completely disturbed and very thirsty at this point, when it saw a frog hopping along. And by this time itself, it had grown some legs and flippers. And then this frog jumped into this huge pond of water and then floated to the top and got on top of a lily pad. And so the pollywog that became a frog jumped into the water, and it felt completely wonderful. And it came up to a lily pad and sunned itself, and it knew who it was. That's an analogy of our condition in life. We are born into a world that propagates a definition of life that is not consistent and not capable of bringing to us any true fulfillment, rest, and it can't bring to us peace. There'll always be something that appears to be missing, something needed, something more, something wrong, and we'll be questing and questing and questing to try to get to it. But what is wrong is we have been programmed to believe a definition of life that is totally flawed. It is not true. We are not separate physical bodies born to go around once in a world of separate physical phenomena. That definition of life, which is propagated 24/7 by the media and by people who are still locked in the prison of illusions. But we got caught up in it and believed in it and tried to make something out of it, as everybody does. And really, we should have gotten to a place where the frustration of operating in this definition of life was enough for us to say, there has to be another way. Those are the exact words that Helen Schuckman used. She's the one that wrote A Course in Miracles, because she was operating in an institution for people that had mental disabilities and problems. And it was a staff of psychiatrists, herself included, in this university hospital in New York. But she went to her boss and said, I don't know what's going on here, but I think the staff is crazier than the people we're trying to help. Myself included. We don't seem to have any ability to understand and bring peace within our own ranks. That was the beginning of her going in search of another way. And so each of us will one day get to that place, if we're not there already, where we will embrace, and possibly you're in unity today because you are now seeking another way. And the other way has to do with a complete transformation in our own awareness. The way we perceive life and ourselves in life needs to go through a transformation from the illusion of being a separate body-mind in a world of separate others to an awareness, a universal awareness of being one with all that lives and breathes. And this is not like some kind of trick, momentary shift here and there. It's not like some kind of, sporadic relationship we have with things. We go through these fads. Some people go through fads, smoking or drinking coffee or doing something or taking, trips here and there. They go through these fads in hopes that it's going to be the thing that's going to make them complete. Well, what I'm not talking about, I'm not talking about a fad. I'm talking about a devotion to a practice that opens the awareness to its divine essence. The Bible was not lying in the book of Genesis when it stated that God made mankind in his image and likeness. Male and female created he them and said, "This is good." That image and likeness is the true nature and core nature of our being. It is the nature of God. It is universal. It is not pragmatic. It is not fragmented. It is not self-centered. It is not isolated. It exists as our true self, true nature. And the only happiness and peace we'll ever really find, the only sustaining peace of mind we'll ever have, is when that nature is full-flown in our definition of life. In other words, our minds no longer think in terms of separation. There's me and there's all that's not me. Now, when our minds are being transformed and expanded, we recognize this is it. If you're walking around and haven't gotten this yet, you could be helping yourself by walking around affirming this. There is only God. One presence, one life, one presence of love, one truth to be embraced and lived, and then guided by it to find the expressed manifestation for your personal expression in your understanding that there is everything you look upon, only God, and God is love. And so each of us is called to find our way into that true self, that true nature. So it comes with what is sometimes referred to as mindfulness. We have to become mindful enough to recognize when we're entertaining negative thoughts, negative feelings, negative projections about anything and anyone. Because what we are holding in mind is producing our experience in life. Now you say, am I actually manifesting, people? Am I manifesting these things? Am I making them, creating them out of nothing? Ask yourself this question honestly. Would you be more inclined to be helpful and considerate of someone who was very considerate and friendly toward you? Or would you be more inclined to help someone who you sensed didn't like you and didn't speak well of you and didn't think well of you? Would you be inclined to be considerate and helpful to that person more than someone who is considerate toward you? Of course you wouldn't. So now you know something. If you're holding negative thoughts, limited ideas, and projections about any particular person, you're going to have that person appear to you as someone who's negative toward you and might be actually bringing about negative conditions and circumstances, or maybe even trying to get you fired, or maybe even gossiping about you. But what if you held a more beautiful image, a forgiving, beautiful ideal of this person's soul, and you were considerate and helpful toward that person? How long would it be before you would not have a person that no longer is inconsiderate of you? Stop right now. Take this thought with you. We reap what we sow. It is in giving that we receive. What we are giving out, we are receiving. If you don't like what you are receiving, change your mind. Fake it if you have to. And become more and more conscious of your mind when it is entertaining negative, limited images about others or about yourself or about anything. Because that's the experience that you will be having. You didn't create that person. You can take the most friendly, wonderful person there is. And if you hold negative thoughts about that person, if he doesn't know who you are and you're holding negative thoughts about that person, that's how that person's going to appear to you. Because all minds are in communication. And there's a necessity to heal oneself in order to see that healing in everything else, in everyone else. Here's A Course in Miracles. Now, Helen Schuckman took close to 7 years to write the 3 books of A Course in Miracles. And she did not ever receive a penny for her efforts. She wasn't paid to do it. So here's a lady that took 7 years to fill a book full of lies. Do you believe that? She said she channeled the Christ. It's the words of the living presence. That's what she said. And this is the kinds of things she said in here. I mean, we have to wonder. All that work, all that effort, all that writing, all that thinking, praying, and meditating, all of that, to say something like this. This is in the old text, page 214. You see what you expect, and you expect what you invite. Your perception is the result of your invitation, coming to you as you sent for it. Whose manifestations would you see? Of whose presence would you be convinced? For you will believe in what you manifest, and as you look out, you will see in. Two ways of looking at the world are in your mind, and your perception will reflect the guidance you have chosen. This will go on to explain that you either are operating still from the illusion of being a separate ego self in a world of separate phenomena, with the excuse that the mind doesn't accept the fact that what you are believing is what you are receiving. It doesn't believe that in the ego-centered definition of separation. It doesn't believe that at all. It believes you can think whatever you want to think, do whatever you want to do, and there's no corresponding reaction to that. That is the underlying cause of all of man's inhumanity to man on the planet Earth. The unenlightened thought system that I am separate from everything that lives, and therefore what I think and what I do really has no corresponding response to me. So I can poison the waters in a river, and I can go on and poison the air if I decide to, and I can go on to cheat people financially, and I can go on to lie, and I can go on to gossip about people, and I can hold all the negative images I want because I'm separate from all of them. How would they even know what I'm thinking or doing? I can get away with that. Now you know you can't. So the only recourse, the only intelligent thing to do is learn to catch the mind when it is cheating you out of peace. Learn to catch the mind when it is propagating negative images in your head about something, someone, anything. And pause. Take a holy pause. And ask yourself if you really want this to continue. Do you really want to continue in the idea that you're a victim of the circumstances and conditions outside yourself? Or would you rather be on the path to being an emissary of healing, light, and love? So we're going to meditate again together and relax the awareness, the whole awareness, the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, all the conditioned, limited illusions that we have thus far lived by and in. Just let it go and become present in this meditation. It's okay. Now your mind isn't going to just immediately give over. The ego doesn't going to immediately just give up and say, okay, you win. It's not going to happen. You're going to have moments where this stuff, the ego's going to come back in. You're going to say, I'm justified in taking this negative action or thinking these negative thoughts. That's okay, but once you catch yourself doing that, stop. Wait. Do you want to surrender your divine consciousness, your peace, and the love that could be coming your way? And ask yourself that question and say, no, I really don't want to. So I just want to be here, open, sharing the joy, the peace of being God conscious. So we're going to have our bowls help us into that state of acceptance of ourselves as divine beings. And as we do that, we will relax and let the divine nature start to come through. We don't do this by the volition of our will. We relax our personal will. We let ourselves be okay. And then all of a sudden, this divine consciousness starts to come into the forefront of our awareness. So as we get to that place in the silence, if you don't have a particular meditation technique, you can use this truth. Everything I look upon, everything I see, is only God revealing me. Let us take a few moments to pray for those whose names have been submitted to our prayer list. If you know the person whose name is called, see that person healed physically, mentally, and spiritually. If you don't know the person whose name is called, see the name in light.
Helena, Azalin, Zena, Kelly Scott, Diane Evans, C.A. Thanks, Linda, Lorena Martinez, Dave and Diana Moore, Lulu, Christy, Jeff, Lydia, Robert David, Edmondson, Katie, Sandy's brother, Gretchen Williams, Ruth Muller, Jeannie Russell, Kate Beltrami, Josh, Jacques Frutero, Eric and Kara Martinez, Catherine Keaton, Steve B., Erie P., Bonnie S., Martin R., Drew Lally, Marshall Schroeder, Zajari Schroeder, James Wales, Lorraine McCarrick, Melinda Violet, Dolores Degenhart, Melinda Nemesnik, Melinda Nemesnik, Joni Ann Hawes, Mark Freeland, Gail Wagner, Steve Taylor, Sharon Lippy, Rudy, Sandra, Del Bigtree and family, Dan James, Rob G., Tom, Jeannie, Joy, Mark, Dawn, the coronavirus victims and families, the United States government, the air, water, earth, all life. And you can call out a name if it was not called out at this time. Thank you. We see this hailing light surrounding the prayer box and all the people whose names have been submitted throughout the month. We see them healed physically, mentally, and spiritually.
Let us take a moment to realize our oneness and feel this refined energy, this healing light, moving in the awareness of all the people sharing this Boulder community with us. And this light moving into the consciousness of everyone in the state of Colorado. Continually moving through the hearts and minds and prayers and meditations of all the people in these United States of America. and this bringing about healing everywhere throughout all the continents of the world, in the lives and cultures of all the peoples of the world. And this having its effect also on all the creatures that share this planet with us, all the marine life, all the mineral life, all the plant life, being restored and invigorated with this divine awareness, this love, this presence, shaking off all of the limited conditions and circumstances created by mankind. And we have this earth surrounded in the light of divine awareness as we pray. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And God is love. To this we say, Amen. We will take an offering for unity now. Here, you're going to get some help here in a minute. Here we go. Thank you. As we take our offerings in our hands, let's bless them with this offering statement. Divine love is my true life and my conscious destiny. Therefore, I give. Together, please. Divine love is my true life and my conscious destiny. Therefore, I give.
I am sustained by the love of God, by the love of God. I am sustained by the love of God, by the love of God. Wherever I go, whatever I do, whoever I think I am. Wherever I go, whatever I do, whoever I think I am sustained by the love of God, by the love of God. I am sustained by the love of God, by the love of God.
Join me now, please. We dedicate this tithe to the will and the work of the Spirit of Truth. the spirit of